Okay, so this is gonna be your lesson 3 for C Sharp. General tips for success. C Sharp is by far the most difficult course in your web developer program. So, that depends on your skills. But C Sharp in general is pretty hard. Learning to become a software developer isn't easy. Let's go over some of the challenges new students encounter. Then we'll talk about what to do to help you get started and answer some commonly asked questions. What are the challenges of learning your first programming language? So, number one, difficult and confusing terminology and concepts, abstraction, program state, control flow, recursion, messages, events. There seems to be a never ending list of technical jargon, and the definition of terms often just use more jargon. So, right here, this is just giving you a better idea of like, don't be afraid to when they're giving you these type of words. It's just technical jargon. The best way to learn a new term and concept is to see an example of it. Most of the time, the concept behind these terms are actually pretty easy to understand if you can see an example of it being used. So, as a new student, it's important to focus on concepts, principles, and terminology. Having a solid grasp of fundamental programming concept is key to success. So, hard to understand technical definition of control flow. Control flow, or flow of control, is the order in which individual statements, instructions, or function calls of an imperative program are executed or elevated. So here it shows a cool meme. You're technically correct, the best kind of correct. An easy to understand example of control flow. So using loops and if-else statements in your code to repeat or skip over lines, controlling which lines of code are executed. So if a term or concept isn't making sense to you, look for an example of it being used. So number two, when experts don't agree on things. So all these smart nerds and geeks who invented these programming languages all agree with each other and there is a proper way of doing things, right? Wrong. You have to get comfortable with the fact that there is no right way of doing things. Just like in real life, there could be 100 ways to solve a problem. There could be 100 ways to solve a programming problem as well. Some ways might be easier or faster or lead to better outcomes. Secondly, you'll hear a lot of opinions. Python is just better than Java. Java is better than Python. Serious developers only use OOP. Programmers are terrible, and only good developers use functional programming. Use Angular and SPA web apps. Use ASP.NET and MVC web apps. So the takeaway is that you have to decide for yourself what works best and easiest for you, and you will only figure that out by practicing. Unfortunately, there are a lot of arrogant developers out there that only know the way you were taught and look down on other approaches they aren't familiar with. So number three, putting it all together, getting experience. So the only way to really improve your skill is to use them. In addition to the work in this course, tutorial projects on places like GitHub and tutorial videos are a great way to learn. Think of your own small project and you're trying to build a great exercise as well. If you put in the extra 4 hours of work just to practice, you will see results. So here, go ahead and put more than 4 hours. So strategies for success. When faced with new programming tasks, you don't know where to start. All of the following are viable strategies. So number one, understand the problem first on paper before ever touching the computer. So that's that's a very good exercise, right? So you have like a pen and paper and go ahead and start writing down the problems. If you have a whiteboard, also even better, like a small little whiteboard. Think about what kind of data is required as an input and what kind of output will be produced. And then start getting what do you want at the end results. Number three, break down the problem down to smaller and smaller problems. So, each type of program has a separate, unique function that they do. Number four, look for example of how other people have solved the problem. So here you could just Also look for other examples, communities where you can get help from, or tips and ideas. So understanding the problem first, you're given the task of writing a program that does X, Y, and Z. Before you start blindly coding away, spend some time with pen and paper and ask yourself, do I really understand the problem my code is trying to solve? Can you draw it out on paper? Can you explain it to someone else? Can you write proper pseudocode? Pseudocode is a term for writing a programming steps out one by one in order without worrying about language or syntax. You can use plain English. So pseudocode, you know how I kind of touch base with it, and I've been pounding it inside your guys' head. It's just simple code that could be used for every type of language. But does it work? No, it doesn't. So number one, received money. Number two, so I subtract the amount of money given from the amount owed. Number three, if the amount given is greater than the amount owed, I return the difference to the customer. Number four, if the amount given doesn't cover the balance, I let the customer know that they still owe money. So this is right here, C# code. So here you have your reference, public static double, make change. So here inside you have your argument, double amount given, and also your double amount owed. So here you have your amount given and your amount owed. So double balance is equal to amount owed minus the amount given. Here you have, if balance is less than or equal to 0, go ahead and return balance times -1. I'll just go ahead and make another go house and end it off with a console write line. Customer still owes a balance. Return 0. An algorithm is a set of steps or instructions designed to solve a problem or perform a task. An algorithm can be written for any task or problem. The first step in writing your code is to figure out what your solution will look like. Writing the algorithm or solution steps in pseudocode can be a good first step to help you get started writing the code. So another term you should be aware of is problem domain. This is simply jargon for what is the area of expertise of problem you're trying to solve. The code solution is called domain logic, or often sometimes business logic, and refers to the rules and steps the algorithm used to solve the problem. So here's some good bullet points. Writing software is all about solving problems. An algorithm is a set of steps designed to solve a problem or perform a task. And then number three, when solving a problem, it's critical to think about what data you start with, your inputs, how you change the data, and what the end results will be, your input. All right, so thinking about your input and output, at the end of the day, all software processes input and changes in some way and produces output. It's incredibly useful when brainstorming your problem-solving approach to stay focused on this by asking, number one, what kind of data does this code need to be accepted to do this job? So like for me, I work with the Department of Defense, and I work with you guys, and data is very key, important, and also how structured it is, right? So everything needs to be followed by the guidelines and rules. Number two, what kind of data will the code create as a result of its work? So, as a software developer, what is your result, right? Keeping these two questions in mind and constantly asking them will help you figure out how to write your code. All programming tasks ultimately boil down to accepting data as input, changing it, and producing new output. No matter how complex things seem to get, really all we are doing is getting input data, changing it, and outputting the new data. So break down the problem down. Your task with writing a web application that does A, B, C, X, Y, and Z. Break the task down into smaller pieces. Can you just get the application to do X by itself? Then just Y by itself. Okay, now you can do X and Y together. Work on each problem in isolation. Once you got a piece figured out, start adding back in complexity. So look at successful examples. Chances are You aren't the first person to have this, to solve a problem and write software that does XYZ. Look online, for example, how other developers have solved the issues to get a starting point of reference, then write your own code that meets your needs. Common question: do I need to be great at math? No, math is not the most important skill as a developer needs. Being a strong math can be a benefit to developers, particularly when working on certain kinds of software programs. However, in general, business software development, basic math is mostly used. So being able to problem solve, analyze, use logic, and understand programming concept and terminology are far more important skills for being a developer. So that's just the simple fact that computer scientists, or do you need to be great at math? Most of the time your computer does all the math and the operation for you. Don't be afraid to write bad code. Most code is bad code, especially the first time it's written. Code gets better through refactoring and iteration. Refactoring is a process of slowly tweaking the code over time to make it cleaner, more concise, and less bloated. Iteration means writing very simple code to start with, then improving it over and over to be more functional and scalable. I'm afraid I'm going to write code that crashes the computer or deletes something. You should always make a backup of your database and write code in a test system before ever trying it in the real world. I can remember all this syntax. The good news is that you don't have to, outside of cramming for a certification test or job interview. The syntax and documentation for code are always available with a quick search online. There is no shame in looking up the documentation on how to write syntax. Experienced developers refer to the documentation of all time, especially when they learn several languages and switch back and forth often. It's far more important to understand the concepts, principles, and terms so that you read and understand and help documentation. What's the difference between a programmer and a developer? Currently, the term developer is more preferred term among professionals. For some reason, the term programmer has developed a negative connotation among some people. A programmer could mean someone who has been given a trivial task to write when interacting with other professionals. Be polite and call them developers. Some people care, others won't. Informally, sometimes the word hacker or coder is used as well. So that's pretty cool. Am I really going to be expected to know all of this to land a job? Yes and no. To impress an employer in a job interview, you need to show that you study and are comfortable with the terminology and concepts. Having code you written to show them is a huge plus. But as an entry-level web developer starting their first job, no one's going to expect that you can do the same things that a person with 3, 5, or 10 years of experience can do. Okay, so I'm pretty sure most of you guys are kind of on this part right here. So don't worry about too much about experience right now. There's no way I can learn all of this in class. You have to spend time outside of class to reread and review. It makes all of the difference. If you cannot commit 4 hours per week to review and practice the week assignments, it will add up and make a huge difference. When all else fails, get help. We strongly encourage all students to work together in the course, including in the lab project. When you hit a roadblock, you have a lot of resources. So number 1, ask me for help. Number 2, go ahead and collaborate with your fellow students for help. Number 3, go ahead and Google and YouTube. There's very good tutorials and videos with excellent information you'll find online. Number 4, study the course material and example codes. Number 5, get after hours tutoring from your instructor or through online tutoring sessions. Finally, if all the above fails, you can always ask Steve, the program director, for help, and he's very knowledgeable with this. Finally, don't give up. Remember that you are here to get skills. You need to get a better job. If you keep trying, you will be successful. It takes time, study, and practice. Lastly, remember that a full stack web developer is a jack of all trades. So being a full stack developer is like a pony who knows the parts of a system from the front end to the back end. And the truth is that not everyone wants to be that. You may find that you really hate C#, and that's okay. Remember that sometimes employers just don't look for C#. They just might look for SQL and JavaScript, or they just might look for C# and HTML, like the front end SQL or JS coding. You may learn that you really want to specialize in one area, and that's okay. On the other hand, you might come to love C# and realize you want to focus on being a general C# developer. That's absolutely great as well, and there are many opportunities available for these skills taught in this program. So C# is definitely one of those big type of languages too. This concept of this course are universal. After getting through this course, you'll go back to JavaScript. You should find programming in JS much easier. You'll also discover you look at languages like Python, PHP, or Java, that while the syntax might be different, the ideas are mostly the same. The first language is always the hardest, but what you are learning here will help you with anything you learn next. So here, additional video-based tutorials, C# 101 video tutorial. Let's go ahead and just check this out. Oh, okay, so this has about 19 videos of C#. Is it created by Microsoft? I don't think so. This is a channel 9. It look very professional though. So here it just talks about all your course. All right, search and index list, combining branches and loops. Bracky C# 101 video tutorial. Okay, so here number 1, how to program in C# basic beginner tutorial. Okay, so key terms you guys want to remember is pseudocode, algorithm, program, problem domain, domain logic, business logic, refactoring, and iteration. Okay, so working with strings. In this lesson, we're going to look at some useful tools for working with strings. At a vertebrate, how you say this? Verbatim. Oh, it's verbatim. Character. When creating a string of text, some characters have special meanings. For example, the /B represents a backspace, and the /N represent pressing enter. This can cause issues with some strings. Prefixing at before a string tells C# to ignore all special characters and meanings and to simplify process the string verbatim or literally as you typed it. So example, here string my folder is equal to C to documents. This will throw an error because the / is causing an issue. So string my folder is equal to at. This will be stored as a C documents. String enter keys equals some text /N more text on a new line. This will appear as Microsoft Visual Studio Debug Co. Okay, so here you'll just have your this is going to be your terminal, your compiler. String no enter key is equal to at some text /N more text on a new line. This will appear as again some text / more text on a new line inside your console. So a $, the string interpolation character. This character allows for easy and quick insertion of variables into a string of text. String interpolation is a fancy word for saying substituting parts of a string text with new values. So example, here you'll have your string color 1 is equal to red, your string color 2 is equal to blue, string poems equal to $roses are, and then curly bracket color 1, which is going to be your string red, violets are here blue, and then here your roses are red, violets are blue. String day is equal to Monday. Here you just have your each of these that's going to be equal to your strings, and you could write these all out, right? So you know each part you'll just like insert whatever it's where the string is at. So for string day it will be Monday, and here it's just doing the same thing over again. Okay, let's talk about string functions. String functions are built-in operations we can perform on strings. To use a string functions, we write variable name.string function. In web development, we'll get a lot of data that comes in from web forms, and we often need to test the form data and work with it before we save it to a database. You may find the need to use these string functions often on a data users submit from web forms. So here you have your index of. Index of is useful for finding where in a string of text a certain letter, character, or word appears. The first character in a string begins at a position 0. The second character has a position of 1. Okay, so string line 1 is equal to this address here, console write this dot index of at. So here it talks about occurs at character position 14. This right here begins at the character position 2. So here this is at position 2. Console write line index of Zeus. Zeus doesn't appear in my email address, so there it returns a -1. So here replace will replace all instances of a certain letter or a group of character with some other text. The code below replaces the letter C with Z. So anything with C will be replaced with uppercase Z. So here the cat and the Zorner Zan's out, because all the C's in here are like cat or corner or count and can. So you would just use dot replace. Length and constraints, lengths and contains. Length will tell you how many characters long a string is. Note, length is property of a string, not a function, therefore it does not use the parentheses. We'll discuss properties, functions, and methods in more details in the course progresses. So this is very important right here. Contains will return true if a letter or phrase appears in a string, or false, it does not. So here you type in console.write line2.length, and 32 characters long. Console.write line2.contains, and the return true because the word appeared in the sentence. So this right here is in the sentence. Split. So split will chop a string up into many smaller strings. In the example below, the Zat and the Zorner Zan's out is a split by the character Z. Okay, so here you'll have your string words is equal to line.to split. So split is going to be the keyword, and then here you're just going to highlight Z for each string word in the words. Console write line word. So the result is 5 new strings shown below. The character we use to split the string with is deleted. So and then here this deletes Zat at in the, and then here deletes the Z, Warner, and out. So it deleted every Z and just creates a new line. So and then once it sees Z, it enters down and just types in at. It finds Z again, Warner, enters down, and then Zan, enters down. Substrings and trim. Okay, like in SQL, substrings and trims are back and do the same thing. Substring takes a starting position and a length and returns the string of characters that can be found there. So trim will remove all white space from both left and the right of a string. So here you use console.write line2.substring 4 and 3. So return Zat, the 5th character, 6th character, 7th character. Remember the first character is 0. String line 3 is equal to trim me down. So there is going to have a trim me down. inside the string. So console.writeLine, line3.trim, trim me down. So here you have your get type. Last, if you need to verify the data type of any variable, you can use variable.getType. It will return the data type of a variable. Console.writeLine, line3.getType, system.string. So GitHub code example, go ahead and code it by yourself before you guys open this. And then lesson files, same thing. I want you guys to program it before you guys actually download the actual file for it, right? So that's going to be your 3-2. Let's talk about regular expression PDF. So here, a fairly common thing we'll need to do in web development is test data we get from web forms and test URLs. So you guys remember what URLs are? We also sometimes need to try a search that check for spam or trash data coming in through a web form, or just search a web page for a certain piece of text. So regular expression is a universal way of performing a search on text. The way it works is that you use a special syntax to tell the computer the kind of text you're looking for. The regular expression will return any and all matches based on the regex expression you write. This is also called pattern matching. So this is very key right here. Regular expression pattern matching. Let's take a look at how this works. Okay, we have the text, this is Sparta, and that's what we're going to be searching. We'll write a regex that tells us if that we're searching for is found in that text. In our first example, we'll use the upper character T, which means must start with the letter T. This would return true because our test string does not begin with the letter T. However, if searched with the upper caret Z, it would return no matches because our test data doesn't begin with the letter Z. So regex is a case sensitive. Let's look at the most common regex searches. So here you have your special regex character. You have your caret, meaning starts with the and for example, you just do caret T and string test. This is Sparta, so it found that this right here is a uppercase T. Yes, it starts with the T. Here you have your dollar symbol, ends with so this means it ends with. So here you could just do Q dollar symbol. This is Sparta. So it doesn't find anything in here. Q. Here you have your star, 0 or more. So spa star. So this is Sparta. Yes, spa is found. You have your plus, 1 or more. Spa plus. This is Sparta. Yes, spa is found. You have your question mark, or 0 or 1. S question mark. This is Sparta. Yes, capital S is found. And you have your /D. Any digit, you just put /D star. This is Sparta. There's no digits found. /S. This talks about any white space characters. /S. This is Sparta. Yes, white space found. And A through Z. A through Z. This is Sparta. Yes, this is Sparta found. So here you just guys open up this right here, and talks about it's a free regex texter. You can enter a sample text here to search, then practice writing regex expression to get the hang of it. All right, so this is a free what? So here you have a free. That will open it. Oh, come on. So here, insert your regular expression here. Let's look for, okay, so in here, let's do upper caret B. Go ahead and put Bravo Zulu. Okay, so 1 has matched because we found that Bravo Zulu was found in this test string. Go ahead and just leave site. Okay, so here we tested the letters A through Z, the capitals T, capital S, and then exclamation characters didn't match, but everything else did. Let's practice for a bit using the website. Then we will C# to test some regex on this website here, regex101.com. Copy and text the text below into the test string box. Then type these regex searches and one by one and observe the results. All right, so this is like a lot of stuff right here. There's a lot of random numbers. Okay, so you're just gonna copy this, right? Insert that into the text. So is water somewhere in here? So we'll just type in water like you did. And water is in there. Okay, let's find something. Let's try finding any letter A through Z followed by the number 9. So the regex is A through Z 9. A through Z 9. Okay, so we found about how many letters here? 1 match, T9, 2 match. So there's 2 matches here. Okay, so there's 2 matches, T9 and N9. Okay, let's try A through Z followed by any number. The regex is A through Z /N. So go ahead and just do, now we just do a /N. Your regular expression does not match the subject string. Oh, /D, sorry. Okay, there's 2 matches. Full match 4 through 6 KT. There's about 6 matches here. Let's go see what's on the file. The regex found things like K2, T9. Notice that they're all lowercase because regex is a Z. Let's try uppercase and lowercase. The regex is A through Z, A-Z, /D. It finds results like R3 this time. Okay, so I'm just gonna have this right here. So what's this say? A through Z, A-Z, /D. Definitely didn't find any pattern right there. Maybe I forgot the Z. Okay. Go. Okay, so here it's saying that there's 8 matches, right? N9, T2, B0, R3, B2, B0, T9, K2. They're all matching here. Okay, let's try finding the letters with the letter preceding it. We'll get matches back for cat and wat. Okay. So here we'll just type in A through Z, AT, and then we'll just have like cat, wat. Okay, so I'm gonna be done using that. So using regex and C#, to use regex and C#, first we have to add a line to the top of our program. This tells the computer we'll be using regex functionality. So okay, so things first is using system.text regular expression, right? In C#, we'll create 2 strings to text to search and a regex expression to test. Next, we'll need to use regex.matches parentheses to perform a test. We'll also need to store the results, and so we'll create a variable called match results. Its data type is match collection. This is a special data type used by regex. Lastly, we want to print all the matches to green. For each match in the match result, we'll print them with the console.write line. So there, this is mainly you're just gonna you're just gonna tell your console to write this line. Okay, so here you have your string text to search. This is Sparta string. Regex is equal to A through Z. Match collection, match results dot equals to regex dot matches, text to search, and regex for each match M and match results console dot write line M. So to get the same results that regex 101 gave us, TS and the exclamation aren't matched, but all the lowercase are. So go ahead and try that out. I'm gonna try that out actually. All right. So here it says using system dot text dot read regular expressions. I think that's regular expression. Okay, semicolon. Okay, so using namespace. String text to search. This is Sparta. And with semicolon, string regex is equal to A through Z, semicolon, match collection, match results is equal to regex dot matches, text to. Okay, I thought I put text to search, so it should pop up. Nope. Comma regex, and then with a semicolon, space down for each match M and match results console dot there were build errors. Would you like to continue? No. So let me see. String text to search. This is Sparta. String regex is equal to A through Z semicolon. Math collection match results is equal to regex dot matches. Text to search, comma regex for each match M in match results console dot write line M. Go ahead and just build it. Let's see what's wrong. Oh, we're not supposed to get that. Let's go ahead and delete all this class. Type in tuple. Go ahead and create a new file. SQL Visual C# class. Okay, go ahead. Let's go ahead and write this again. Using system.text.regular expressions, public class. Create a clean solution. Rebuild hello world. Okay, let me go create a new project. Create regex. String text to search is equal to this is Sparta. A through Z. Okay, let's build this. Inspected invalid token for each class. Expected, comma, semicolon, system, this part says semicolon, semicolon, for each type or namespace definition or end of the file. Expected tuple must contain at least 2 elements. Expected type of namespace definition or end of the file. Expected and namespace cannot directly contain members such as fields or method types of namespace. Let's go ahead and look at his code example. Call it console app 2 class program static. So here, let's just call it namespace regex class class reg string args Okay, so got that down. So let's see how that goes. So here it just says that, let's see what his this match. So I don't have, okay, so this both match. We get the same results that regex 101 gave us. TNS and exclamation are matched, but all the lowercase are. So we also get the same results for our same lowercase plus at search. Text to search is equal to this right here, and then regex is equal to a through z dot at. Match results is equal to regex dot matches. Text to search regex for each match m in the match results console dot write line m. So there you'll just have your cat wat, because that's going to be in your text to search and you're searching for that. Okay, so so having a basic understanding of regular expression is good because will be many times where you want to know if the block of text contains a certain phrase or value or number. You don't have to become an expert on regex overnight, but you do want to get comfortable to the point where you could use a cheat sheet to write a regex expression. So again here, you have your additional resources. What is this? Regex 101 that we just went through. Medium Factory. A quick cheat sheet by examples. So here, regular expression, regex or regex p are extremely useful for extracting information from any text by searching for one or more matches of a specific search pattern. Example, a special sequence of ASCII or Unicode characters. So this is very important to learn about C# because companies will ask you to like go ahead and try to extract data from a form, right? So I got asked that question, and it's one of those development right now that a lot of companies are pushing forward for. So field of application range from validation to parsing, replacing strings, passing through translating data or other formats, and web searching. Here you'll just have your basic topics. I'm not gonna really go over through this with you guys. You guys could just read this. And there's gonna be example codes here. All right. Let's talk about your 3-4 lab. So number 1 on your own, spend some time reading about regex and practicing regex hands-on. Review regex examples at one of the links below. So here, regex1.com. Lesson 1, introduction and the ABCs. Regular expressions are extremely used for extracting information from text such as code, log files, spreadsheets, or even documents. And while there's a lot of theory behind formal languages, the following examples and lessons will explore the more practical uses of regular expressions so that you could use them as quickly as possible. Okay. So go ahead and read that. Dev to Catherine codes, a regex cheat sheet. I can't write regex.replace, can. The regex cheat sheet for all those regex haters and lovers. My experience with regex. So here you could just write a little, you could, here's a cheat sheet. So let regex, so this is in Java? What is this in? Okay, so regex is equal to hello. So this is, I don't know if this is Java or not, but yeah, this is a regex cheat sheet right here. So here you have your A through Z, lowercase, uppercase, exclusive, exclusive, right? You can pass arguments through it. Then we just went over medium.com factory-mine. So you guys could go through this one. Practice writing regex on the regex101.com. Copy the following block of text into the test string box on the regex101.com. Then write out these regex expression. So test string, episode 4, A New Hope. It is a period of civil war. Rebel spaceships striking from a hidden base have won their first victory against the evil Galactic Empire. During the battle, rebel spies managed to steal secret plans to the Empire ultimate weapon, the Death Star, an armored space station with enough power to destroy an entire planet. Pursued by Empire Sinister's agents, Princess Leia races home aboard her starship, custodian of the stolen plans that can save her people and restore freedom up to the galaxy. So 2A, go ahead for your lab. Find all the occurrence of the letter D or E, regex D-E. Find all the occurrence from the letter D or E followed by another D, regex D-E times D. Find the occurrence of the letter A followed by any letter with the letter A again, regex A-Z. And then A, find all the words that starts with the letter P, regex, here P and A-G star. Find all the words that end with the letter E, regex, A-G times E. And then here you have your white space. Find all the capital letters, regex, A-Z. So on number 3 on regex101.com, click on the tools, then code generator, and then choose C#. You will be given the C# code for regex, study the code created by the tool. So here you just put code generator and go into C#, and then here it starts off with the using system, and then here you're just going to be using another library system.text.regular expressions, and then it's going to start off with your class, and then you're going to have your static void, and you're going to have your main, and then here you'll just have your your function, right? So here it just talks about your your text, what pattern you want to look for, and here it'll just go ahead and run through the code. So for each match m and regex dot matches input pattern, go ahead console write line 0 found index 1 m dot value m dot index. So copy the code from regex101.com into a new C# project, upload it on GitHub, and turn it into a GitHub link to your instructor. So go ahead and do that, and I'll just go ahead and give me a link to your GitHub, and remember your GitHub link, and then so that you guys put it down on your notepad or whatever your whiteboard is, and upload it through there. All right. So that's going to be your 3-4 lab. Let's talk about your 3-5 lab spam checker. So Steve definitely got some great laboratory, right? The program director. And these are really useful for many applications out there. So until we get to lesson 5 and 6, all lines of code we write will be typed inside the main code block. Don't write any lines of code above or below the main block for now. Scenario, you will work for a company that runs a website. One of the features of the site is that users are able to post comments online and engage for each other in a discussion on the site. So lately, the message boards have been flooded with spam and other inappropriate postings. There is so much spam coming from and the human moderators of the site can't keep up. You've been asked by your boss to implement a spam checker for the website. You work as a part of a large team, so you'll only be tasked with writing the code for spam checking itself. And you have to worry about how it hooks up to the web pages. Using C#, write a small program that will check messages for spam. So number 1, solving the problem. Let's begin by braining out about what we need to solve this. We'll bold out important words that are going to help us figure out the problem-solving approach. First, we'll need a blacklist of words that spammers use. We'll be using the words in the blacklist to determine if the message contains spam. Secondly, what kind of data will our input we'll know where we're going to be messages, and which are going to be long strings of text. Okay, so what does our code need to do? It needs to check each message and see if the message contains a word from the blacklist. It sounds like we need to use strings functions to solve this task. So finally, what should happen after the message is checked? The code should either flag the message as spam or flag it as okay. We'll probably just use a true or false value to say if the message was good or bad. Step 2, write some pseudocode. So number 1, blacklist equals a word to check. Number 2, a message equals get content message. Number 3, test if the message contains the word. If it contains the word, spam is true. If not, the message is okay to post to the website. So step 3, writing some code. Okay, so here you'll have your code, class program, static void main string args, string blacklisted words equal to Viagra. Bool is spam is equal to false. So this is just gonna be checking for spam, right? So string message equal to console.readLine. If message that contains blacklisted word is spam is equal to true, console.writeLine, the message is spam. Else, if spam is equal to false, console.writeLine, this message is not spam. Step 4, test the code. So write the code shown above and test it, and by writing your own message and changing the blacklist word to a different word, how well does this version of the code work? We'll come back to the spam checker and keep improving to the next lesson. To view the code, download the lesson 3 spam checker project on the GitHub page. All right. So additional practice, if you complete this lab early, practice working the strings by completing exercise on Etabit and Etabit. Go to etabit.com challenges and sign up for a free account. Then under the challenges are listed as easy or very easy to try solving these challenges. So I'm gonna check this out. So here you can just type in C#. And you can do very easy, medium. So this is a great website right here. A lot of content here. Challenges to try. Compare strings to count or characters. Is a string empty? Check string for spaces. Is the word singular or plural? Here, so here is just a snippet of the website, add a bit. And you can compare strings by count of characters. Key terms here is go ahead and just get the lesson file, lesson 3 spam checker. Go ahead and try to develop it on yourself through here. And then afterwards, implement it. So first thing first, I know how I will approach this is, right, spam checker. First things first, it's, you're gonna have to log into the account, so you're gonna have to find a way to authenticate into the mail system. After which it has to check your containers, right? So the containing, each message is a container, and every file is encrypted. So after that, I'm thinking like, okay, so if it's just looking for many type of containers, right? So here we'll have to just get messages from this date, right? Because your mail is by date, so get messages from, right? So you'll limit yourself. So get date from however date from June 8 to June 14, right? Or June 7 to 14. So that's about 7 days. So get containers. So there your mail will actually go ahead and give you all your mails from that date. And then from there, open date from open this first date. So go ahead and have an ascending program. Open that up, and then you're gonna go ahead and use regex file to search out for the messages that you want to look for spam. So typically you'll have, like, let's say Viagra on your mail, on your text right here. So you'll just it'll look for that file, and then from there you will flag it or whatever. Here we'll have a flag of bool. So 1, that's flagged, 0, not flagged. And you just do that for every type of date you have, right? So every file you have. And then you return your results. So let's just say that about 10 mail out of the 100 mail you receive is flagged. So then you'll just say those are spam. So that's how I would think, right? And then I'll go ahead and go down to my papers and start figuring out, okay, what do I need to do to start coding. So here you're just gonna go ahead and using system, using whatever libraries you need. Go ahead and create your class, create a bunch of functions, right? This is not so if you're looking for a spam checker, right? This is just a small little piece of part into the big actual app, right? You go ahead and do that by itself. So that's your 3.5 lab spam checker, and that's gonna be it for today. Go ahead and work on it. Let me know if you guys go ahead and talk to each other. Read through the lessons and try to turn in everything by next week, which is 6/21 of Sunday, right? So all your lessons and assignments up to 3.5 should be due on that day. Also, your grades needs to be certified by today, so I'm just gonna go ahead and certify all your grades by the end of this time. All right. So other than that, you guys go ahead and start working on your labs.